Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, on the last leg of his five-nation visit, received ceremonial reception at the State House in Namibia, welcomed with a 21-gun salute. PM Modi holds delegation-level talks with the President of Namibia, focused on deepening ties between the two nations. And in Wimbledon, world number 1 Yannick Sinner eyes semi-final berth as he faces Ben Shelton in the quarterfinals. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting Namibia after concluding his two-day visit to Brazil. In the final leg of his five-nation visit, PM Modi is in the capital Windhoek, where he was received by Selma Ashipala Musavi, Minister of International Relations and Trade at the airport. The Prime Minister will hold bilateral talks with President. In fact, he has already held bilateral level talks with the President Nandi-Ndaitwah, and he will deliver an address at the Parliament of the country. He will also pay homage to the founding father and first President of Namibia, late Dr. Sam Nujoma. This is the first visit of Prime Minister to Namibia and the third ever Prime Ministerial visit from India to Namibia. Namibia is a valued and trusted African partner with whom India seeks to boost bilateral cooperation. PM Modi received a grand welcome by the Indian diaspora as he arrived at the State Guest House in Windhoek. The special welcome by the Indian community in Namibia reflected extreme optimism about closer India-Namibia friendship. They have retained a connect with their culture and traditions. And the Indian diaspora was filled with enthusiasm as they met the Prime Minister. Some share their experiences of meeting Prime Minister Modi. Let's take a listen.
The experience was excellent. We were just here meeting his parents, and now we have met the great Prime Minister of India. So we had a really great experience, and Jai Hind.
It was really a very surreal experience. He took my poster and he really focused on the poem. I really liked that about him, and it was like a very dream come true moment for me.
It was a lovely feeling after meeting Modi ji. I never had imagined, we see Prime Ministers milke itna zyada acha lagega, because it is a whole different energy, and the charisma that he carries, it's absolutely fantastic.
I liked it very much, and we are really fortunate to meet him here, and काफी अच्छा लगा.
PM Modi was accorded a ceremonial reception at the State House. PM was welcomed with a 21-gun salute welcome at Namibia. Like we said, Prime Minister Modi was accorded a ceremonial reception at the State House. PM was welcomed with a 21-gun salute welcome at Namibia. Further, Prime Minister Modi signed the Visitors' Book, marking a significant moment of India-Namibia camaraderie. PM Modi met the President of Namibia. They exchanged a warm handshake, symbolizing strengthened bilateral ties. And Prime Minister Modi held high-level delegation talks with Namibian President Dr. Nandi-Ndaitwah in Windhoek, focusing on deepening India-Namibia ties. The discussions covered cooperation in energy, health, education and digital technology, aiming to bolster bilateral partnerships. In an address, the Namibian President lauded India-Namibia ties, focusing on the capacity of both countries in expanding trade and investment cooperation. She highlighted areas of cooperation among the two countries, including green hydrogen, mining and value addition, oil and gas, infrastructure development, food security and tourism development. Her address was followed by PM Modi's address, in which she highlighted cooperation in civil, nuclear and petroleum sector and said that both the countries agree on promoting further trade and investment. India's development partnership with Namibia is not just about trade and diplomacy, it's about sharing skills and knowledge. At the University of Namibia in Windhoek, a centre of excellence in IT set up with Indian support is equipping young Namibians with the tools of the digital age. A report.
Capacity building play a crucial role when it comes to ties between two countries. I'm here in Namibia, in front of India-Namibia Centre for Excellence in the field of information and technology. This centre is established with the assistance by the Government of India, where hundreds of students have already been trained in the field of IT, and many of them are already enrolled to learn new skills, to burnish their skills, and to fulfill the vision of Namibian government of e-governance and digital empowerment.
This center offers training in areas like software development, cybersecurity and web design, all aimed at giving Namibian youth a competitive edge in the technology-driven world.
All these programs were set up with the assistance of the Indian government through SIDEC, because we basically implemented our programs in collaboration with SIDEC in Pune.
This is a very good collaboration with the Indian government to assist the Namibian government with ICT education.
The center is not just about building skills, it also creates opportunities for students from all walks of life to access quality IT training. It's part of India's focus on development that indirectly benefits people on the ground.
This center, we call it as India-Namibia Center of Excellence in Information Technology, which is established at Namibia University of Science and Technology under the bilateral agreement between Government of India and Government of Namibia. The main aim of this center is capacity building in Namibia and also to boost the research capacity in Namibia. So using these capacity sector, we offer a few programs here. Many of students, like I would say 500 plus students have been trained, and those are basically working professionals. We are assisting ministries and the government offices. They used to come here and upskill their knowledge.
How do you see the future of the center as more and more students they enroll in the center to learn in the field of IT?
I would say very, very important contribution from government of India, as well as, in assisting the government of Namibia to build the capacity in Namibia. So definitely center will fly, and we will work and assist as much as possible.
So we got to know that the India-Namibia Center of Excellence in Information Technology is not just a center. It's a vision where Namibians, youths and working professionals are being trained to work in the field of IT and also to burnish their skills, and which exactly is the demand of the future. With camera person Alok, this is Siddharth Bhardwaj reporting for TD India in Namibia.
And economic ties between India and Namibia continue to grow steadily. We take you inside a diamond processing unit run by an Indian company that's training and employing Namibians on the ground.
I am at Ankit Gems here in Namibia, the oldest factory of diamond cutting and polishing set up by an Indian. And just ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit, this facility is a clear example of how Indian investment is adding value locally and also strengthening the economic ties between the two countries.
Ankit Gems brought a game-changing model to Namibia's diamond sector. Process locally, employ locally. Today, hundreds of Namibians work here, many trained in high-precision diamond cutting. The Indian company's presence supports Namibia's...
All right, we'll get you the visuals from Namibia now. You can see MOUs are being exchanged between India and Namibia. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi witnessed the signing and exchange of several memorandum of understandings between India and Namibia. So MOUs that have been signed are Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure Framework Agreement, Global Biofuels Alliance Framework Agreement, MOU for setting up of Entrepreneurship Development Center, and cooperation in the field of health and medicine. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi witnessed the signing and exchange of several memorandums of understandings between India and Namibia. You can see External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar there, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi witnessing the signing and exchange of the memorandum of understandings between India and Namibia. We're getting to know 4 MOUs have been signed: Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure Framework Agreement, Global Biofuels Alliance Framework Agreement, MOU for setting up of Entrepreneurship Development Center, and cooperation in the field of health and medicine. Like we said, Prime Minister Narendra Modi witnessed the signing and exchange of several memorandums of understandings between India and Namibia. 4 significant MOUs were signed to strengthen bilateral ties between Namibia and India on the 9th July, that is today, during PM Modi's visit to the nation. These include the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure Framework Agreement to enhance infrastructure resilience, the Global Biofuels Alliance Framework, an agreement to promote sustainable energy, and an MOU for establishing an Entrepreneurship Development Center to foster innovation, and an agreement on cooperation in health and medicine to advance healthcare collaboration. So these MOUs reflect India and Namibia's commitment to sustainable development and mutual growth. All right, like we said, 4 MOUs have been signed: Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure Framework Agreement, Global Biofuels Alliance Framework Agreement, 3rd MOU for setting up of Entrepreneurship Development Center, and 4th cooperation in the field of health and medicine. So these are the 4 MOUs that have been signed between India and Namibia, and we showed you Prime Minister Narendra Modi witnessed the signing and exchange of the several, in fact 4 memorandum of understandings between India and Namibia. Moving on. US President Donald Trump announced plans for a 50% duty on copper imports a day after the White House sent letters to Japan, South Korea and other countries about tariffs to kick in August 1st. Trump also said he is planning to impose tariffs on imported semiconductors and pharmaceuticals, with medicine tariffs potentially reaching 200%. However, he said drug makers would be given about a year to get their act together. Reiterating his threat of a 10% tariff on BRICS, Trump said the bloc was not a serious grouping but acknowledged that it is challenging the US dollar.
Ones we did steel, as you know, they're 50%. We did aluminum, 50%. Lumber just came out.
Why don't you announce copper?
And we did cars. And now today we're doing copper.
Copper, what would that tariff be on? The sectional tariff?
I believe the tariff on copper, we're going to make it 50%.
50%.
After Trump spoke, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said that the copper tariffs would likely be put in place by the end of July or August 1st. Lutnick added that the investigations on copper under Section 232 are complete and the observations have been submitted to the President. The deadline for the investigation to conclude is in November. And the European Union is working closely with US President Donald Trump's administration to reach a trade deal, but Brussels is getting ready for all scenarios. While addressing the European Parliament, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said on Wednesday that EU stick to the principles to get ready for all scenarios.
As you know, since February, the United States has imposed tariffs on 70% of total EU trade with the United States. The scale and the scope of these measures is unprecedented. So our line has to be very clear. We will be firm. We do prefer a negotiated solution. This is why we're working closely with the US administration to get an agreement. And I had a good exchange with President Trump earlier this week to help move things forward. We're looking for a reliable framework from which we can keep building our common trade. So the message is clear. We stick to our principles, we defend our interests, we continue the work in good faith, and we get ready for all scenarios. We will, of course, keep this House informed. Honourable members, the reason why we're working day and night to find a solution is because we believe tariffs are bad for business.
Now, Bangladesh now faces uncertainty as Trump announced new rate of 35% for its goods applicable from August 1st, which is mere 2% reduction on his original announcement of 37%. Trump has warned of increasing the rates if retaliated. Economists and business leaders in Bangladesh believe that the country may lose its once cherished win-win position in the US market following the latest announcement. The burden of this new reality is expected to fall mainly on Bangladesh's government sector, where key competitor Vietnam have had their tariffs slashed from 46% to just 20%. Dhaka is already in talks with Washington, with their Commerce Secretary soon joining the already present delegation there. In a chilling example of the growing threat posed by artificial intelligence, a mysterious individual successfully impersonated U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio using a convincingly generated AI voice, reaching out to foreign ministers and American officials in a calculated diplomatic deception. Voice cloning and generative AI tools, once limited to research labs, are now readily accessible and increasingly abused. Let's take a look at this report.
AI-powered tools are becoming a challenge for governments across the globe with alarming pace. The impersonator and Marco Rubio used the Signal messaging app to initiate contact with at least 3 foreign ministers, a U.S. governor, a member of Congress, and 2 senior officials, mimicking U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's tone, cadence, and speech patterns with alarming accuracy. The department is receiving its communication protocols and has reminded personnel to verify all unusual or unexpected outreach, even from familiar voices.
The State Department, of course, is aware of this incident and is currently monitoring and addressing the matter. The department takes seriously its responsibility to safeguard its information. The State Department, of course, when we think about the reports that have occurred, and the details that we would like to provide become problematic, obviously, when it comes to investigations and the nature of the actions that we're taking.
There have been a few notable past incidents of top-level AI misuse. In 2019, an AI-generated deepfake voice mimicked the German parent company CEO in a phone call that convinced the UK firm's managing director to transfer €220,000 to a Hungarian supplier. Then in 2021, fraudsters used deepfake video and voice to pose as executives in a video meeting at a company called Arup, nearly fooling staff into transferring $39 million before suspicions halted the scam. A similar incident happened in 2020 when an AI voice deepfake convinced a company director to send $35 million. There were a number of incidents reported in 2024 alone. Deepfake robocalls used President Biden's voice to urge NH voters not to show up, prompting an FCC response and legal action against the creators. Deepfake audio falsely portrayed Slovakian politician Michael Semeka admitting to rigging votes, spreading disinformation just before elections. AI-generated video showed UK's Rishi Sunak making inflammatory remarks. Over 100 fake ads were distributed on Facebook to sway public opinion. Governments and institutions are now racing to implement authentication protocols, as AI-powered deception is emerging as a clear and present danger to the common man and also to the governments. Bureau Report, DD India.
Sports now. We'll start with Wimbledon. World number 1 Yannick Sinner will push for the first Wimbledon title as he takes on Ben Shelton in the quarterfinals on Wednesday. Sinner will need to be back to full fitness against Shelton. He did not look comfortable on Monday after landing awkwardly on his elbow in the 4th round match and missed a practice session on Tuesday. On the other hand, Shelton has looked in supreme form on the way to his first Wimbledon quarterfinals. Meanwhile, Novak Djokovic feels confident in his quest for a record 25th Grand Slam title at Wimbledon ahead of quarterfinals showdown with Flavio Cobolli. The 38-year-old has long believed Wimbledon holds the best chance for him to reach the milestone. Cobolli, who has won only 2 clay court titles, has surprised many with his improvement on grass. In the women's draw, a 5-time Grand Slam champion Iga Swiatek has reached her second Wimbledon quarterfinals. The 24-year-old is confident ahead of clash with Lyudmila Samsonova in the last 8, having won all 4 of their previous meetings. And the rising star, 18-year-old Mira Andreeva, is the youngest Wimbledon quarterfinalist since 2007. Under the wing of former Wimbledon winner Conchita Martinez, Andreeva has breezed impressively through the first 4 rounds without dropping a set. But the Russian faces a determined Belinda Bencic, who is enjoying her best ever Wimbledon season. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.